All right, so this is a 48 by 64 by 18 commercial building. We're doing a lot with it. It's an addition to his existing building. His existing building is 30 or 40 years old. He needed more floor space, so here we go. Easy access to the building is the 12 by 12 garage door. It's good for any big trucks, machines, etc. One feature about a 12 by 12 door on an 18-foot ceiling is you can run it straight up the wall so that it doesn't interfere with your headroom. So this door was built as access to the existing factory. We put an 8 by 8 door in before that door was built. After we built it, the owner cut in a 10 by 8 door and began looking at this door and said it's too small. Can you make it bigger? So we're actually going to come back and add 2 feet to this door to match the size of the existing door. Easy access for forklifts with loaded pallets and any other tall loads like that can come in and out pretty easily. So here's the front door. This is where most people will come in and out of the building. Because it's a commercial building, it's outswing for quick exiting. What we like to use is a thick jamb. We have a 6.5 inch jamb. Which makes it nice for the thick post walls for construction. This door has the nice 9-light window for both attractiveness and for visibility. This door over here is a little more standard in the fact that it's an in-swing door. Most residential doors swing in. It makes for easier access into the building. And this again has the thick 6-inch jamb. This is even more critical because the door is swinging in against the interior framing, and a standard thin jamb will not allow full access on the door. That brings us to the breezeway here. The customer wanted easy access even in inclement weather, so we built the breezeway here, attached it to the existing building, and we will be removing that 3-foot door to replace it with a 4-foot door to be able to get wider loads in and out. One change that we made in the field was there was originally going to be a wall here with an extra door right here. The customers began looking at the structure and he decided it would be better wide open, which I agree with. So that was an easy change that we made on the fly, and so this will be basically the final structure. We'll wrap the corner right here and finish it just as the same style as the rest of the building. Which brings us to the interior framing, which is one of my favorite parts of the building. The whole back half of the building here will be office spaces. So you've got 64 feet by 16 feet. We'll include 4 offices, a restroom, and a maintenance room. All underneath a loft which spans the whole width. That will be open framing for storage and whatnot. As we come over here, they don't need any more office space, but they still wanted the loft, so the loft will actually wrap around, go all the way to the front wall, and that will be an open loft where they can store things on top, or they can drive machines underneath the loft, with the easy access stairs against that front wall to get up to that second floor. The office space 16 feet off this wall, the loft comes in 16 feet off of the far gable, and gives plenty of space on the first and second floors. The key to any building is the foundation, of course. One of the advantages of a pole barn is they go up faster because you don't have a solid poured foundation. In this case, we have a large building, so we use 3-ply 2x6 columns. We call them glue lambs. Each of these 3 plies are glued and then nailed together. The boards work together to avoid twisting, and long term they are much better than a 6x6 post, which can tend to warp and twist. In this case, because it's such a large building, we did 30-inch wide holes. 4 feet deep, and then we pour 10 to 12 inches thick of concrete. That is what the building sits on. These posts then just sit directly on the concrete. We cave the dirt or the gravel back around it, and that is the final structure. Some people ask, why don't you pour concrete back around the posts? The problem with that is it will create a bowl where moisture can sit in there, seep, and can cause these posts to rot out much quicker. So this allows it to drain into the soil, much better structure. So these posts tend to go up in about a day, depending on the size of the project. For us, this is a medium to large job, so it might take 2 days for posts, but they go up fairly quickly, and it's fun to watch the structure all come together. Once we have the post set, the next thing we set is the grade board. We determine this through talking to the customer on how high he wants the building. Are we matching an existing building, or are we just attaching this to out in the middle of a field to where it's able to drain properly? It's a pressure treated 2x8, and that is treated to be able to withstand both exterior forces and ground contact. As you'll notice later on the outside, you will be able to see the bottom edge of this 2x8. That is just fine. It will stand up just fine to the outside elements. Once we have that set, then we start strapping the wall with our wall girts. These girts go roughly 2 foot on center. If you notice, the bottom section is a little more than 2 feet because that's what holds our wainscot, our bottom trim around the outside of the building. But then once we get past the wainscot, these girts are 2 feet on center all the way up until we get to the headers. Then we figure out what height precisely that we need our headers at, the prescribed distance off the finished floor, in this case 18 feet. Then our trusses sit on top of those, makes for a nice even measuring for all of our interior measurements. The trusses are all custom designed for every job. We don't have any stock trusses. They are designed for the size of the building, the zip code that that particular snow load is in. For instance, Southern Michigan requires a little heavier truss than in Northern Indiana. Every truss is designed specifically, and then all of the bracing inside the trusses is all designed specifically for the snow load on the top, and as well as all the bracing inside. The diagonal bracing, the lateral bracing, the bottom core bracing, they all have specific purposes to hold the structure of the building together. Some of it's only temporary until we get the actual structure, which is in this case, the ceiling panels. But every piece of lumber in the trusses is critical for proper strength and proper structure of the building. If you notice, there's a diagonal brace going all the way from the header to the floor. That gives a lot of structure to keep the building from racking side to side as the building goes up, and then long term, we leave that there just for a little extra support. On this project, we have a couple different style of windows. We have the sliding window. These are nice, easy operation, nice breeze, and they just look nice. If you look on the second floor, we actually have just a fixed transom window. The only reason they are there is for light, and for attractiveness. They do spruce up the building and make it look a little nicer. One last thing to mention with the loft framing is making sure you have enough structure for your load-bearing wall. Your 2x6 wall here is just sitting on the slab. A 4-inch slab is definitely not strong enough. So we have actually a 12-inch trench dug the entire length of the barn. So that's got a 12-inch footer, 64 feet long, and then in the 3 spots where we have posts on that far side, we also have a 12-inch footer for those posts. Now, to make this building a little more enjoyable to work in, in the middle of July, like today, we are going to insulate and line this whole interior. We have an R19 fiberglass insulation, 8 feet wide, that fits very nicely into each one of these bays. On this one, we're doing a little custom wrap. We're doing the bottom half with OSB siding. Makes for a nice workshop. You can hang stuff on it. You can makes for nice sound absorption. On the top half, we're going to do a white steel, the same ribbed panel that we use on the exterior. It'll be a bright white that'll cover the top half of the walls, and the ceiling will all be that. It reflects the light nicely. It really brightens up the shop. All of that is attached the same as the outside metal. Wall girts going up the wall, 2 feet on center, makes it super easy. Makes it much faster to install than a standard stick-built house. So once we have the wall girts up, we have the trusses up, we start putting on metal. The first metal that we put on is actually the roof. We prefer to have a vapor barrier of some sort on the roof. In this case, we have a coating on the bottom that's called drip stop. It's a fantastic design. It will actually hold a cup of water for every square foot. That keeps the condensation from the roof from dripping on your head or on the insulation in the attic. On the walls, we put house wrap on. This seals up the building from the elements. Just makes everything much more secure there. And then we put the wall metal on, which we will talk a little bit more about when we walk around the outside. So here's the outside pad. Any kind of door that access, especially in the back, it's nice to have a little egress pad. You can come out and not step into a mud puddle. As you can see, it's a bit of a mess. It's a construction site. This will all get cleaned up later, but we try to make sure that one feature that we have right here is actually a rat wall or a rodent barrier. Around the full exterior, 2 feet below the floor, we have 2-inch insulation sandwiched behind concrete board, cement board. The cement board just keeps critters from burrowing through, and the insulation creates a bubble that allows for more efficient insulation of your interior slab. Here's just another slab. This will hold the air conditioning unit and other mechanicals like that. So we will provide any kind of extra feature. It's an easy addition, and we can do this while we're building the rest of the building. So here on the walls, we have ribbed steel. This is our standard ribbed steel for most commercial jobs, backyard garages, anything like that. This is very popular style, and they are 36 inches wide, each with 9-inch panels, and we put our screws 2 feet on center on each of those wall girts. What we like to do on the walls for a little bit nicer look is a solid row of screws, then a single screw on every panel, then a solid row, etc. And that gives a nice, attractive look without having too many perforations and having just too many screws on the wall. On these windows, we saw it from the inside. Now from the outside, they have a built-in J. This is Provia. This is the window that we try to stick with almost exclusively. They make a very nice budget-friendly window, as well as a couple lines of more attractive, more residential look windows. This here is a standard Provia slider, and with the built-in J, works very nicely with our metal. So we saw the windows from the inside. Here's the window from the outside. This is our standard Provia window. They have 3 different lines of windows, anything from a budget-friendly sliding window, which is what we have here, to a little bit more attractive, a little more custom line with the Endure line. You can get whatever look you want with that. But this comes in with the nice J channel that works very well with our ribbed steel. One nice feature that we do on a lot of barns is wainscot. It's usually 3 foot tall, just a nice little accent line that just sets the barn apart. A lot of our barns, it's the same color as the roof and the trim, but I've done some that are a 3 or a 4 color pattern. Whatever suits your taste, we can do it with those colors. If you notice on this one, the old barn is not anywhere close to this color. If we wanted, we could match that barn, but the customer thought we didn't want to go with the older style. But the customer didn't want to stick with the older color. He wanted a little bit more modern look, a little modern color palette. So we went with the nice burnished slate and clay walls. Around the back side here, we've got a lot of dirt. As you can see, we actually ended up building this side of the barn up about 3 feet because of the slope of the yard. We don't offer landscaping, but we obviously try to give a nice finished look. So we pile up all of our extra dirt around the outside like this. That makes an easy job. If you prefer to landscape afterwards, your landscaper or excavator can come in very easily and finish this out with either smoothing the lawn out with more dirt, making a retaining wall, whatever's your preference. We can provide any kind of concrete work you want. Concrete is concrete, whether it's interior or exterior. And this one, we put a nice little 5 foot sidewalk along the whole front of the building, including all the way up to the old building and around it. Makes for one nice seamless walkway. In this case, because we're 2 feet higher than the parking lot, the customer is actually going to take care of the asphalt himself. He's bringing up his asphalt to merge into the new building to make a nice flow through and a nice driveway into that nice new garage door. So this barn is going to get gutters as well. We can do either 5 or 6 inch gutters depending on your preference. On a building this size, 5 inches is usually more than sufficient. And then we need somewhere for the water to drain. So in this case, the customer actually ran a drain tile right there. It will dump out to where he wants it to go. The one problem with the gutters on a steel roof is that in the winter here in Northwest Indiana, you get enough snow on that roof and then it starts warming up and that snow avalanches off the roof and tears off your brand new gutters. So we offer a little bracket called a snow rail or a snow guard on the roof that just stops that avalanche from happening. That is the preventative method that will keep your gutters looking nice for years to come. So here's the project. He's got a 3,000 square foot new building attached to the old one, several hundred feet extra of concrete as well. So one of the big advantages of pole barns are the speed that they are erected in. So with this project, he's got a 3,000 square foot building in basically less than 2 months since the time we broke ground. We will coordinate with the electricians, the plumbers, any other mechanical workers that are doing their work to try to keep the work flowing as smoothly as possible, keep as much worry off of your plate as possible, and get you in a new building as quickly as possible. This project here, he's got 3,000 square feet, close to 3,500 square feet of concrete, and hopefully in less than 2 months, he'll have forklifts in here, he'll have all his machines. This building will be fully operational with bathrooms and everything else he needs to do to keep making money. So in 2 to 3 months, he'll have a fully operational factory here, forklifts running in and out, functional bathroom, new offices, so that he can get his business running to his full capacity.